Okay, so let's just start above the game loop. What I want to do is ask the user whether they want to twist or stick. And they're going to type yes or no. So the question will be, do you want to twist? And they choose yes, or N for no, they want to stick. So let's do that. So a useful name might be get yes or no. Now, this is quite an often used routine with a definite way of handling it. And I've got to check what the user types at the keyboard, and I've got to check whether, or I've got to validate whether their input is acceptable or not. And if it's not acceptable, just keep asking them the same question. So I'm going to start off with valid equals false, and they're not going to be able to leave this routine until valid equals true, at which point I know what they've chosen. So while not valid, I'm going to keep asking them the question. Now, every time we deal with input, whether it be from a file or from the keyboard, we run the risk of an error. And so the next block is to protect us against having an error, and it's called a try and accept block. So first of all, try doing what you want to do. So I'm going to say the choice equals raw underscore input. So I'm expecting a string answer. I'm going to type in a message here, twist, give them a space to answer. In fact, let's do you want to twist? So I'll go to the screen, and choice should either be yes or no. There's too many things to check. Did they type a capital Y? Did they type a lowercase y, capital N, lowercase? So what I'm going to do is convert whatever they type to lowercase, so I've got fewer things to check. So now I can check what they actually typed in. So if the choice is in yes or no, lowercase, I could add to this. I could do capital Y, capital N, a yes, a no, all the various options that they could type in, but I've chosen just to use the lowercase Y or N. So maybe I ought to tell them that, Y or N. Oops. You want to twist, yes or no. If the choice is in yes or no, then it's a valid response. So I can say valid equals true. However, if they don't, well, at the moment, all I've done is check whether it's in yes or no. I need to find out which one they actually chose. Did they choose the Y, in which case they're twisting, or did they choose the N? They are sticking. So I could have another variable to find that out. Twist equals false, and I can now check their response. So if the choice was equal to yes, then twist equals true. And obviously if their response was no, then twist is going to be false, but we set it beforehand. And this loop's going to continue while we don't have a valid input. So what happens if they type something else? Well, what I'm going to do is a special thing again. So if their choice is not in yes or no, so if they chose something else, I'm going to make my own error. So I'm going to choose raise exception, and I'm going to tell them that it was an invalid choice. And if we get an error, so if they've made an error, I have got my accept block. So this is going to say, oh, you've made an invalid choice, and then it's going to come down to the accept because it's raised an exception. And any other error is going to come down to this one as well. So if the computer suddenly crashes or what have you, we're going to find ourselves in the accept area. I'm just going to type out a message to the user, print invalid input. Now if this is all strange to you, don't worry. Remember, I'm really looking at this from the year 11, from a finished project point of view, what you're expected to be doing at the end of year 11, not at the start of year 10. But it doesn't hurt to see the logic and how things are built to begin with. So bear with me, all this will make sense by the end of year 11. If it doesn't make sense at the moment, just type it in and try to understand what I'm saying. So that is handling the input. At the moment in year 10, all we've done is this line, and we've not bothered whether it's been valid or not. We've just carried on. But now we're actually checking what the person's typed in. If there's a problem, we're either firing off our own error, and we are handling our own errors to prevent the program from crashing. So I'm going to save that. We get into a position whereby I could try to run this program and see what happens, but I may get one or two errors because I haven't really passed any variables into these, and so I'll get too many errors to have to fix at the moment. So we'll run it shortly. We'll make sure we've got things in here so it doesn't crash.